What were the uniforms of the Red Army like? Have you ever wondered what the uniforms of the Red Army looked like during one of the most transformative periods in history? The Red Army was formed during the Bolshevik seizure of power and played a vital role in establishing the Soviet Union. The uniforms of the Red Army changed significantly over time, reflecting both practical needs and the ideals of the revolution. In the early years, from 1917 to 1924, the uniforms were quite varied. Due to the chaos of the Russian Civil War, there was no standard uniform. Soldiers often wore a mix of leftover Tsarist army uniforms and civilian clothing. By 1922, efforts began to create a more uniform look. A common gray uniform was introduced for all ranks and branches, but this standardization was not fully achieved. Khaki and white uniforms were still common among troops. As we moved into World War II, the uniforms became more standardized and functional. In 1943, new regulations were introduced that included branch-specific colors and insignia. For instance, infantry troops wore uniforms with red piping, while medical and administrative officers sported crimson. These changes were designed to reflect the Soviet ideology of unity and equality among soldiers. From the perspective of communism, the uniforms symbolized the egalitarian ideals of the Soviet state. The use of standardized uniforms across ranks aimed to eliminate visible class distinctions. This approach was in line with Marxist principles, promoting equality and the idea of a classless society. Over the years, Soviet military uniforms continued to evolve, reflecting technological advancements and changes in military strategies. The final Soviet Army uniform, introduced in 1975, required minimal changes to become the first uniform of the new Russian Army. This continuity shows how Soviet military traditions have influenced modern Russian forces. In the context of communism, the Red Army's uniforms served not just as military attire but also as symbols of revolutionary ideals. They represented the Soviet state's efforts to create a society where distinctions based on rank were minimized. The uniforms were a way to foster a shared identity among soldiers as defenders of the socialist state.